All right, and welcome back to episode 014 of the OK Podcast, powered by the Strength Co. I'm your host, Grant Broggi, and we are coming to you live, except on Friday, and today's Tuesday, but as live as we can be from the upstate of South Carolina, which is currently covered in pollen, but it is short-wearing weather. It's warm, it's nice, it's windy. I'm not usually a big fan of rain, but I would love a little rain to calm the pollen down. I don't have allergies because my dad said allergies are for the weak. But if you look at that addition to the show, the block clock just switched from the block height to the Bitcoin price, which is $64,644. So Jordy, you're PJ.
Yeah.
You're kind of out of a job here.
I know. It's over, dude.
Yeah. AI
took my job.
Coming for you. So that's the current Bitcoin price. When it flashes here in the next 5 minutes, it goes back to block height. We'll give you that. But today's date is April the 2nd in the year of our Lord 2024. And this is week 14. And thanks to everyone that's been listening. The last couple of weeks have been a little bit uptick, more people tuning in. So we appreciate that. And we're going to have some more guests on in the coming weeks. We don't have a guest tonight, just the usual crew. We got a lot of sports to talk about. But we do have some exciting guests coming in the next few weeks that we've already reached out to. So thanks for tuning in. So Bitcoin's plummeting, PJ. Should we be worried?
Nah, it's just doing what Bitcoin does. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. It's going to increase your blood pressure. It's going to make you not sleep at night, but then it'll make you rich. So
I saw there's an account on X. Maybe you pull this later and we put it on X. Bitcoin Archive, big account. I think it's like maybe 3 million followers. And he's a lifter. And so he started following me at some point and asked me a lot of lifting questions. And he had some type of tweet today. I'm going to butcher it and he'll probably kill me in the comments. But it was basically in 2020, when Bitcoin peaked, which I think was at like 24,000. Mm-hmm. It peaked like 4 times and then plummeted. And then like after it's at the all-time high, it hit whatever. And they're saying the pattern is the same right now in 2024. Mm-hmm. And so if that happens, then this year Bitcoin will hit 235,000.
Yeah, it had a double peak. That's what they call
double
it.
Peak.
The double peak.
That's
bro.
what the nerds call it.
Yeah, it's the double peak.
The double peak.
We're probably double peaking again. You know.
I mean, plus the halving.
I mean, if this is not financial advice, but I'd be surprised if it doesn't hit 100,000 this year.
Ooh.
I'd be surprised.
Financial advice.
This is not.
Yeah, it's not.
It could also go to 2,000, but
it could also go to 2,000.
You never know.
If you need tax advice, though, call our sponsors at BW Tax. We'll play those ads later, and we'll talk about BW Tax.
Capital gains taxes with selling and buying your Bitcoin. You know,
it's crazy. I mean, the Uncle Sam asked you, did you sell any cryptocurrency this year?
Yes,
and that's a tough question to answer. Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, I'm just here to hodl. But for a lot of people, they don't know how to navigate that. And there's a lot of just government red tape and bureaucracy standing in your way. And it's April 2nd. And I will tell you this, not that I'm biased for the Strength Co., but we love the month of March and April. Everyone gets their tax return back and they buy plates. And so if you want more plates, maybe you're looking at that, 285 pound set, but you want the 365 pound set or whatever it is. If you call the folks at BW Tax, leverage that return, get more money back that the government stole from you for the past year, and buy American. And it's a win-win for everyone. It's a win for BW Tax. It's a win for the Strength Co. It's a win for the OK Podcast. But most importantly, it's a win for you.
And a win for America.
And a win for America. Yeah, it's there's so much winning.
Too much winning.
Yeah,
you'd almost say. So much you're going to be tired of it.
I'm almost tired of all the winning. If you do your taxes with BW Tax, you've won it all.
You have. Why would someone not buy the 365? I mean, you're so close to it.
Yeah, it all these sets are just like the requisite change plates, and then an additional pair of 45s. And I mean, I could make the argument. So what would
275?
So now you got me confused. So 2 plates. So that's 180. Well, let's just pretend there's a bar there. It makes math a lot easier.
Okay.
225, 275, 2 pairs of 10s would take you to 295, 315, a pair of 5s, 325s. Yeah, that's right. a 330 pound set is what we sell with the bar. 330 minus 45, math in public, 285.
285. Yep.
And then you add 90. So 285, 375 would be it. But yeah, so it just, I often tell people, I think the 330 pound set with a barbell, if you're getting started with lifting, is a no-brainer. Will you lift all those day one? Probably not. Will you get your deadlift to 330? Yes. If you show up at the gym and do it, you will absolutely do it. Plus, it gives you a little room. Maybe you also bought the Audrey bar, a 15 kilogram bar. And so, we got the block height here.
Oh, switching over.
I'll stop my ad. So the block height, I don't want you to completely be out of a job, PJ.
837,465 for those listening only.
Look at that.
It's
look at that.
Robots, man.
Shout out Zach Copley for sending us this, what is it called?
Block clock?
Block clock mini.
Ooh, the mini.
Yeah, it's great. Maybe it needs to be mounted. I don't know, but it's live. We got the block clock mini. We got the drink spotter original with the 5/8 hole, gold plated. I mean, we're basically rich.
Wait, I have a question to interrupt your ad.
Sure.
And this is going to be obviously a loaded question asking a guy who sells weight plates, but for the person building their home gym, what are things to spend money on and what are things to not spend money on? Because I was a drummer for a long time, right?
Sure.
And I would always tell people, you have to buy nice cymbals. You can get away with cheap drums, but you can't fake cheap cymbals. So what's the equivalent to that with building your home gym?
Yeah. So I sell plates.
Yeah. So obviously
plates, but I mean, what my original take would probably be the bar is the first thing to spend money on. And if you haven't checked out our bars, check out our bars. We don't have a ton of bars. I'm not here to sell 100 bars. I'm here to sell you the kind of bar that works similar to the way we do our plates. But the bar I think is important because that's the thing that you physically interact with in terms of conducting the lifts. If you buy cheap plates, I was just working out at my sister's garage in Raleigh, and my sister's great. She bought a plate tree from us. She bought our OG Captain squat rack. She has her deadlift mats, and she actually bought from us, if you don't know this, before we started selling Made in America, smooth yet easy to grip, cast iron, E-coated plates, we were buying plates and selling them to people in 2020. So she bought a set for me. So I can't really be mad at her.
Yeah.
So she has it. And then they moved. And then they both joined the YMCA, which they got a great YMCA there in Raleigh. And they have kids. So it's like, hey, put the kids in this event. Go get your workout in. Whereas at home, it's harder. So she has not been upgraded. But I think I lifted 440-ish there.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But maybe is the word. So, but if you're in your home gym and you buy a set of plates and the plates suck and they're inaccurate, but they're yours, then it doesn't really matter as long as the load in the bar is going up. You know you're still making progress, even if you may be deadlifting 308 and you think you're deadlifting 315, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Now, you go to a commercial gym and they have cheap plates. Well, those plates rotate around the gym and now you have variance.
Right.
But I will say, and it's not really just a sales pitch, it's just because before the strength code, no one made plates that made the lifting experience so nice.
Right.
Of literally, hey, this actually is easy to grip, pull off, throw on a plate tree. So I think bar plates and a plate tree with a 1-inch diameter.
Dude, that's a game changer.
Yeah. I mean, if you got a 2-inch weight tree, you're just missing out on life because you have to actually kind of like aim and stuff. You have to squat down to grab the plate and pull it off straight.
You got to like wiggle it off.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to come off.
So 1-inch plate tree is huge. But I think those are the things. I mean, I guess what I would say.
What about a rack?
Well, I think the hole spacing is very important. So when we first came into the Strength Co in Greenville, South Carolina, gyms.thestrength.co/Greenville, located inside of a rock climbing gym called Blockhaven. I upgraded their bars and plates first. And then I told them I'd do the racks, and we have our racks in there. But they had racks with 3-inch spacing. And that sucks.
Yeah.
Because you can't. I mean, I did a little clinic in Burlington, North Carolina last week. Had a 65-year-old lady and like a 40-year-old dude. Maybe 50. I can't remember. He was strong. So age when you're strong.
What is age?
What is age? but it was, there's like a monolift over there, but all the power lifters are at it. And then there's like a crummy, I'm not saying Titan's crummy, but like a crummy Titan rack, but it's not crummy for the sake of itself. It's just the way it's positioned. There's a bunch of stuff. You're kind of like bumping against the Smith rack. And then there's like a equivalent of an old Dynabody or York rack with like the holes very far apart. And he's, probably 5'10", and she's like 5'5". Mm-hmm. And so like I'm in this corner, I'm not in my own space. And I was like, man, a rack with the appropriate hole spacing. Look at that thing, just flashing. A rack with appropriate hole spacing is important. So you have to account for that.
Especially as you get older, I bet, because then you're either too low racking your squat or you're too high. And both of those you got to like do some maneuvering, and you don't want to maneuver with. You just never want to
tiptoe in or tiptoe out, and you never want to have to look for it. So like, I'm not saying, there's west side spacing, which I think is a 1/2 inch between holes, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Not everyone needs that. Some people might, and it might be really important for the bench press.
For bench. Yeah.
But I think if you get over 2 inches, you're going to run into problems, and there's ways around it. There's hacks. Hey, if you're working in a commercial gym and there's 2 inches between holes and you can't get the J hooks, so when you're walking in a squat or racking your bench press where the bar just cleanly hits that plastic piece instead of hitting the rack, you can take your bench and you can put some 3/4 inch stall mats underneath it and lift it. And now that 2 inch gap became a 1.25 inch gap. There's ways around it. But I guess what I would say, outside of hole spacing, 4 pieces of steel are 4 pieces of steel. And people could say 4 pieces or, plates are just plates and weight is weight, but weight is not always weight. Sometimes weights are different weights, and the ability to grip them easily, that's where I would make that argument. But I mean, it's all important. I think where people mess up at a home gym is they focus too much on the non-essentials. I would say spend your money on the bar, the plates, the rack. The benches actually doesn't matter all that much.
I think you go cheap on the bench. If you're on a budget.
You can go cheap on the bench, and there's so many people doing it now. I mean, I was talking to Tommy from Massonomics. He built his home gym, and he built a gym like basically how I would build one right now. Bare minimal barbell stuff. He did buy an adjustable bench because he said, hey, I do the big barbell lifts, but if I have an adjustable bench and then I end up adding in dumbbells and other things, now I have options.
Right.
So, but yeah, I tend to agree. If I was on a budget, I would spend money on bar and plates and then rack. Plate tree's up there for me though, because it's the user experience.
Yeah. And but that's like a luxury though. You don't need it, but it does make your life like 10% better.
Yeah. It makes it like,
no, I mean like your whole better. Life, like just your daily life.
Yeah. It's a lot better. So plate tree is important, but,
so save money on excess, like an adjustable dumbbell or a cable attachment or something like that.
That's what I would think. I mean, I would even go on the argument, if you really want to save money, but you want to have nicer stuff, like for your bench, for example, lumber skyrocketed back in the day, but now it's back to normal. We have a DIY video on how to make your own bench, and you could make a wooden bench that'll cost you $40.
Yeah.
And an iron bench with a nice leather tops can be $300. So you save $250 there. Now you can get a better bar, better plates. And at all the lifts you're doing, assuming you're running an intelligent program and you're squatting, benching, pressing, deadlifting. Well, I'm only benching, so that's a place to save money. But yeah, I mean, you're investing in your life.
Yeah.
Should you even try to save money at all?
Buy it nice or buy it twice.
That's right. That's what I like to say.
And when you go to the Strength Co. store, you're not just kicking tires.
No, we don't like tire kickers. Don't come in here and kick tires. You can message us and say, hey, I really like your stuff. I was just curious if you have any deals. And the answer is there's no deals. We provide the best prices we can all year long. It's not entirely true. We do run a Black Friday sale just because the industry forces us to. But it is true that if anything, prices are going up. Our costs are going up. So if you're in the market for gym equipment, go for it.
Inflation.
Inflation. It's real. Let's see. Before these guys get on here, What do we do this week? Let's see. We kind of crushed Coop.
Oh man, that was funny. I just love, so that's peak, to me, that's peak YouTube game. Like, this is not important to people in their regular life and day-to-day living, but people who are living on YouTube, this is a major event
thing
that happens when one YouTuber you follow makes like a call out video, even though his was unintentionally a call out video. And then there's a response, and then Coop gives an apology video, and then there's a reaction to the response. That is peak YouTube slow clap. It actually did pretty well. Like,
yeah, it did okay. I think it was like over 3,000. I thought what was more interesting was that his apology video did better than his original video.
That's all you need to know.
Plates. That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know.
But yeah, I had fun with that. And people enjoyed it. And I think we've sold like about 50 puffy coat tees.
That's legit.
We got 500 stickers coming. They'll be on the store this Sunday. So if you want a puffy coat sticker, because you don't want to pay $24.99 for a Made in USA t-shirt with workers that made above minimum wage, then you could just buy a sticker and it'll probably be like $3 and we'll probably ship it to you for free. And if you order other stuff in the next couple of months while the puffy coat is still a topic of interest, you're probably just going to get a puffy coat sticker inside your bag. So it's a good time to order from Strength Co. We do have some new t-shirts. I'm wearing the Strength Co. Heavy.
Me too.
Yeah, you are too. The squat tee.
Great tee.
What is it? 5.2 ounces. I'm forgetting right now.
Thick.
But the heavy, thick tee, high collar, loose. Remember, you don't want to wear a small shirt to try and make yourself look big. You want to wear a big shirt and make people wonder what's going on underneath. But a nice thick shirt. We got some new colors. We got a pink carnation.
Oof.
We got a light pink. We have 2 new crop tops for the ladies, pump covers. It's in Malvi and black. And then we restocked the majority of our squat tee colors. We were unable to restock navy, which I'm wearing right now, and army in a couple popular sizes, but most of our stuff is there. So go check that out. Buy American.
By the way, listen, if you're a lifter worth his or her salt, you're going to want the puffy tee, because let me tell you something. The puffy tee is spreading throughout lifting culture.
Item.
Is a collector's item. Let me just say, I was perusing another lifting podcast that might start with an M and rhyme with economics.
Yeah.
And I looked at the comment section, and there were comments talking about the puffy tee.
Yeah.
And this is a different channel. It's not Coop's channel. It's not our channel. People in the world are discussing the puffy coat. The puffy coat, the puffy tee. It's going to be a thing. It's a thing.
For a while. We also have to mention, we've never mentioned before, and I'll just go ahead and tell them right now, the guys at the Underrated and Underpaid podcast, which is a sister podcast to our friends with the podcast that starts with M and rhymes with economics. You can only be on the podcast if you're a crew member. I'll just put it to you this way. My wife was crew member number 69.
Nice.
And I was before her. So I'd love to come on, talk about the puffy coat. Joey over there was messaging me like, put this thing on the store.
Yeah.
And so thanks, Joey. I got it up quicker than I wanted to. Careful there. Quicker than I wanted to, because you mentioned it, and we sold a lot of them. So the puffy coat tee will probably go to print on April 15th.
Nice.
We'll print some extra, so it'll be a little bit extra, but it's looking right now like we'll make maybe 120 t-shirts. So if you want it, get
limited run.
And but then you can just troll Garage Gym reviews for years to come.
Right. Be a part of the culture.
Yeah, be a part of it.
Don't sit on the sidelines.
Don't be a part of it. Don't sit on the sidelines. Be a part of it. And with that, let's get these guys on here.
Test.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see.
I'm amazed every week when this works.
Let's see. It's 014. It's 014 weeks straight. We've never gotten it right, but maybe today's the day. This is episode 014 of the
Okay.
Yeah, still pretty bad. But this is the OK Podcast, powered by Strength Co, sponsored by our friends here in Greenville, South Carolina. BW Tax, doesn't matter where you need your taxes done. that BW Tax can do them. You got a small business, you got a mortgage, you got a kid on the way, you got a new business. BW Tax are your people to cut through that. And it is April 2nd, which means Uncle Sam is going to come calling very soon. So if you haven't done your taxes yet, you thought you were going to do it on TurboTax, you log in tonight and you're feeling stressed, bwtaxllc.com. This will not be the only ad read. They're a faithful sponsor. They actually said, hey, double my sponsorship because I don't want another sponsor. Wow. And I told them that we would still add another, but BW Tax, I mean, we have to double the ad reads. They're here. They've doubled down.
You can't afford not to.
You can't. It's the final four of sponsorships, and BW Tax is looking like they're going to get the national title.
BW.
Yeah. So, but before we get going, guys, did you see this nice clock here?
Yeah. What is that? Is that a doomsday clock?
Yeah, it's a doomsday clock.
Sort of.
And Bitcoin is plummeting right now. So we're down into we're down to the 6.5. It's actually gone down during this episode. But if you go back, it's like real estate. Just zoom out a little bit. Zoom out. It's like the novice linear progression. It's like Trey's body weight when he gets back into lifting. Everything's going up. So everything's okay.
Bitcoin's doing a deload.
Is Bitcoin's
it's just a deload week.
That's right.
And we'll be back on the program.
It works.
Well, we talked a little bit about the puffy coat in the pre-show. We talked a little about Coop. We talked a little bit about home gyms. I'm like chomping at the bit to talk about sports, but Jeff is the moderator here. So
no, I don't have any sports on the agenda.
Too bad.
It was all,
Sorry,
it was all European history talk. I thought that was the theme.
Oh man. Star Wars episode
Star
3.
Wars.
Star Wars European history.
Yeah.
So Grant, the scene in the cantina where they're playing that song. How many times do they play that song?
Hey, play that song again. Is that how it goes? Ooh,
Wow, that's pretty good.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
I play
Like
a
a
mean
croner.
trumpet. Yeah.
Dude, I love when like Frodo comes running into that bar.
With the lightsaber.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And then he casts the spell and Voldemort dies.
Gandalf is like, Harry, I told you not to do that while we were playing Quidditch. And I'm like, man, I love this movie.
Yeah.
Grant's fan fiction is on a different level, man.
Yeah.
Fantasy Grant.
Fantasy Grant.
Fantasy Grant.
You should just write a fan fiction book just for like of what your grasp is, and I'm
Star
sure
Wars.
it would do phenomenal.
We should have Grant write a synopsis of the Star Wars series. It's just like a 1-page synopsis, and I just want to read that and know what that is.
So
It would be the ultimate crossover.
I know it's not time for a cat.
Whoa,
talk,
no
but
Calhoun.
you never know when cats are coming or going, so I just figured he came in. We'd let him on cam real quick.
Hell
Matios called it a baby dragon.
Matios.
Matios.
Tres generaciones.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do we want to jump in with a little update from Trey, and then
Yeah.
Wait, are we done getting Jordy updates?
Oh yeah. So yeah, Carnivore.
I felt like it was
update.
maybe sensitive subject last time, so I was like, we'll get more like bi-weekly updates.
Okay, so,
There we go.
So Carnivore update. I ate a Costco hot dog today, and it was kind of a joke.
Not a chicken bake?
So it was kind of a joke. Diana texted me and said, "I'm going to Costco," and I said, "Ooh, have a chicken bake," and she said, "I don't like chicken bakes," and so I just write back like a long text, totally joking, and I go, "Bring me a Costco hot dog, a large Diet Pepsi on ice. Make sure you buy ice cream from the freezer and take a picture of the chicken bake sign and tag Massonomics on IG." And I'm like totally kidding. And I was actually on some Zoom calls this afternoon. Like she comes back and I walk out and there's like a hot dog, Diet Pepsi, there's ice cream in the freezer. And I was like, oh, I'm not carnivore anymore. This is over. and I ate the hot dog.
That's how it is.
Phenomenal. It was phenomenal.
Really?
Rest in peace, Carnivore Grant.
Yeah,
March,
R.I.P.
April 2nd.
Well, my body weight's floating in the low 180s. So I'm back on the Fairlife regimen, up in my Fairlife, getting back in the game. That's my update.
Life's not fair,
Hell yeah.
PJ.
It isn't. It's a badly named milk.
Life is not fair. Yeah, I think we gotta go over to Trey for the lifting update.
Doing my lifting update?
Yeah, dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amateur lifting question of the week.
There we
Update
go.
on your
All right, we'll do
wife.
lifting updates. So yesterday I did squat. I did 3 sets of 5, 410. Felt pretty good.
Dude, you're ahead of me.
Dude.
Has the what do they say? The student become the master?
No,
Dude.
Like
no,
I couldn't do that right now.
410, 3x5.
I did it.
Dude.
I did 385 on Monday for
Dude,
3 sets of
That's
5.
big boy
Dude.
numbers.
So,
And every time Trey sends the videos of him squat, I'm like, there's so much left in the tank. Like,
are you saying
Yeah.
he's not working hard, Jeff?
yeah, it looks like he's slacking.
He's
it's all
hardly working.
it's Photoshop.
Yeah.
It's AI Trey.
All Photoshop.
Yeah, it's all AI. You see, I did
Put it on.
bench 295, 3 sets of 5 yesterday.
Solid.
What do you call it? A poverty press? I did 162.5.
That's not
Still went up
poverty,
pretty good.
but that's pretty good. Yeah.
And then deadlift. Last week I did 470, so I think I'm gonna do 475 tomorrow. Is that heavy deadlift?
All right. Name it and claim it. What do they call that type of preaching in church? Prophetic preaching, naming. Joel Osteen. Come on, you work for churches. Jordy. Prosperity preaching. You're going to do 475 by 5 tomorrow. I'm going to do 475 by 5 tomorrow. We're going to go side by side on the OK Podcast Instagram.
Ooh.
Watching bar speed.
This has to happen.
There you go.
That last one was rough. 470 was pretty rough for me last time. I had to catch my breath there. And
That's all right.
75 by
They all
5
went.
for me would be.
It all went.
Yeah.
Wait, are you actually doing it tomorrow?
I wasn't going to, but now I am. I named
Okay.
it. And so tomorrow I got to claim it.
Team.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Wait, Trey,
All right.
before you do your question, I have another question for you, a pre-question.
Ooh.
Why is your press relatively low?
I started out lower.
Oh, okay.
And I just make small. I've been making small jumps, man.
Is it easy?
Say
Yeah, I wouldn't say easy. It's going like the speed's fine, but it's I
Okay.
wouldn't say easy.
I just didn't know if there's like an injury involved. I just was curious about
I
it.
mean,
No.
I think it's pretty comparable. So he's benching 295 and he's pressing 162.5. Let's just say 165 for ease of talk. I think that checks out pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a body weight press like PJ. We can't all be over
Well,
body weight.
we'll get to that in my question. Yeah.
We'll get to that soon. But no, I think you're trending in the right direction because I bet. So generally, I like to say if you can, whatever your deadlift for 5 or your squat is for 5, 10 pounds per rep gets added on. That's a good rough one estimate max. So you can deadlift 470 for 5.
Okay.
Add 50 pounds. I bet you could do 520 for a single, 410 for 5 on the squat. I bet you could do 440, 450 for a single. Press and bench, I think it's about 5 pounds for rep. So 25 pounds on top of 165. Math in public, homeschooled, state of South Carolina.
Whatever that number is. Yeah.
Whatever that adds up to.
Yeah.
Whatever that adds up to, that's the number.
That's how many people they were supposed to send from Goliad to the Alamo, and they never showed up.
Wow.
Oh, sorry,
Wow.
big Texas.
That still cuts
history
deep.
guy. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Too
Too soon.
Too soon.
Too soon.
Back in 1836, Houston
Okay, sorry.
said to Travis. Anyway.
Can we get back on schedule?
Yeah, back on track.
Oh, okay. Back on
Next
track.
slide.
Next slide. All right. So if you have questions on taxes, who do we call?
BW Tax.
You call BW Tax. If I got questions on lifting, I call Grant.
Grant.
I call Grant, which I always do. So question. So this is like my numbers are pretty comparable to when we were in the dojo back in California. It's pretty close to where they were. That being said, I hopped on the scale the other day. Not great.
You're making gains.
making
I'm way
gains
up.
in multiple ways. I will say it's like I haven't like gone up any sizes or anything, so it's not. I guess it's not all fat, but
Do your hats still fit?
Hat still fit.
That's good.
Shirt still fit.
Shout out Poncho, potential sponsor.
But yeah, actually, I think they just reached out.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
We said
So
we'd
that
get
being-
back to him.
That being said, man, it's like so I've kind of gained more weight than I wanted to so far running this novice program, which like I don't have a height and weight, so I'm not like freaking out or anything, but I would like to be at a healthy body weight. So I guess the question is gaining some weight. Is there a ways to kind of either not gain as much weight or kind of curve that weight as you gain it when you're running these novice programs, or just lifting in general?
Yeah. What I would say, then let's drill down on your weight and where you're at. But what my general rule of thumb with this is this, and this is what I tell when people come to the gym. Coming to the gym and they've had a sedentary background, and I don't mean like a long-term sedentary background. Like you have a history of working out, but you had a period of your life where you were not working out, right?
100%.
And so you start working out again. And so you have like your current caloric intake, and then you're like, I'm going to run this Strength Co. starting strength program, and I'm going to do these big barbell lifts that train my whole body, and I'm going to add weight each time. And so like you had this baseline and you were maintaining this body weight and you were eating this much, and then all of a sudden you started stressing it way more. And it's with squats, it's with deadlifts, it's with benches, it's with presses, and cat's trying to attack me, so I'm just going to grab them. And so then every time you lift, it gets harder. So what is your body going to do? Your body is like, hey, Trey's making me deadlift 410, 415, 420, 425. I'm hungry. And so I always like to say to people, they'll say, hey, I ran starting strength and starting strength made me fat, or starting strength made me gain weight. I'm like, starting strength didn't make you gain weight. You lifted weights, you got hungry, and then you made decisions with what you put in your mouth. And so my argument or my bias would be, hey, if you go into this program and you don't want to gain weight, then you got to be pretty disciplined on what's going in. And what most people don't realize is if their diet is just a mix of a lot of things, all of a sudden their hunger just increased by a lot, right? It's the same thing, really, and they'll probably slap me or beat me up in the comments. But it's the same thing with like a pregnant woman. They have their current diet and then they get pregnant and then they're way hungrier. And then it's like, hey, you don't have to gain a bunch of weight, but all of a sudden you have this like stress that's happening to your body and your body wants to feed itself. So to answer your question in a very long way, yeah, I think you can lift weights, gain strength without adding on body mass, but it's a very conscious effort. So generally what I tell people, and most people are not you, most people aren't like you restarted this, whatever it's been 3 months ago, you're kind of naturally strong, you've had strength before and you've been lifting. Most of the time I just tell people, hey, don't worry about your body weight. Just get the habit of coming into the gym 3 days a week for a month, and then we'll talk about it. Yeah. And then at that point, if they're like, hey, I've gained 5 pounds and my goal is not to gain 5 pounds, like I'm overweight, I'm 5'8", 225. I don't want to gain any weight. Then I say, okay, you still got to keep going in the gym. And then now we have to start talking about what you're eating, which is, I mean, I didn't want to talk about politics today. So it's just as, right. It's just as offensive as that. So we can talk religion, we can talk Easter, but yeah, it comes down to like, hey, what are you eating in the house? And so to give you a succinct answer that you could walk away with, I generally tell people, hey, what's the body weight for men? What's the body weight that you want to be at? I want to be at 215. Okay. Eat about 200 grams of protein and then realize that you got to keep your fat and carbs in check. And then if you keep the protein high, this isn't a hold fast rule, but a general, if you keep the protein high, but you keep the calories lower, most of the time the weight in the bar will still keep going up. But the problem is that when you squat 410 for 3 sets of 5, you're going to be hungry. And then your wife's like, I'm kind of feeling like pizza. And she goes and eats 1 piece and you eat 12 pieces. And your squat keeps going up. You're like, well, this is cool. And
this is awesome. Yeah.
So it's difficult. I think the thing to take away is if you're adding weight to the bar and I don't want to say you're getting started because you're so not getting started, but if you're running a novice progression, you're going to be hungrier every week. Mm-hmm. And so you have to kind of think about like, hey, what calories are going to help me? And what calories am I just going to consume just by the nature of I'm hungrier than I usually am?
Now, you just ran like you're ex-carnivore, as of today, right?
As of today, hot dogs.
Well, you're never an
Or-
ex-carnivore. It's kind of like being a Marine, right? Yeah.
Once
Former
carnivore, always
carnivore.
carnivore. If you've ever lived through World Carnivore Month, you're just here.
Now, would you say like a diet, like I'm a bigger dude.
Yeah.
Would you say like a diet for like a carnivore diet or what, like maybe a keto diet would kind of be beneficial for running something like this?
What I would say for you is you're what, 6'1", 240, something like that?
It's like when I started this, yeah.
So now you're 6'1", 250?
I would say, yeah, like between 255, 260.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're a big guy. So I would make the argument for you, especially with your lifts, that carnivore or keto, right? Like, I'm not saying, oh, you have to only eat meat, but low carb would be a great diet. And the thing that you have, this is the hardest part, is you're so used to the weight in the bar going up. So can you get stronger at a lower body weight than 260? Yes. Can you get stronger as you're going down to 230, let's say? Let's say you want to lose 30 pounds. That's really hard. When you're in a deficit, continuing to add weight to the bar is very hard. Not impossible, but very hard depending on training advancement. And so that's where I would say, hey, dude, you can squat or deadlift 470 for 5. Who cares if your deadlift goes down to 425 for 5? If you want to lose 20, 30 pounds, get in the caloric deficit. And if your deadlift goes down with your body weight, who cares? Because you're still deadlifting in the 400s. And then you would say, Grant, where's the threshold? Where's that number that you say, well, you can't only be deadlifting 365? And I don't know where it is. I would say in life, like if you can deadlift 400 pounds, anything you're going to do in life that requires physical activity, you're probably going to be fine. Right? If you could squat 350, you're probably going to be fine. So
it seems at this point, it's kind of, it gets to the point, it's like, what are you doing this for? Are you competing? Then that's maybe you have a different goal. And then if you're just doing it for like longevity and like quality of life, then you got to find a balance for it, is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah. And then it also becomes fun to say like, hey, my top deadlift is 470 for 5, but I weighed 255. What's the most I've deadlifted? 225. And that's what I always try to tell people when they need to lose weight or they want to lose weight. I say, hey, like you're best at I haven't been 225 in 3 years. Well, if we deadlift 405 at 225, have you ever done that? Oh, but I don't think so. Then like, let's go, so you can kind of change your goals too.
Gotcha.
To tie the two together. But I think my takeaway would be if you're increasing weight on the bar, you're going to be hungrier and you have to manage that.
That makes sense. That's it. That was a question.
Yeah, if you want tax advice,
question.
call BW Tax.
Yeah, if you got a question, call Grant.
All right.
That's good. I know
Next
Grant's
slide.
chopping at the bit to talk some women's college basketball.
Oh, Grant.
I think we should just jump into it.
I'm actually bleeding at the foot after the
Oh
cat
gosh,
attack.
yeah, Calhoun was going hard.
Yeah, I'm wondering what
dude.
happens if I open this door. Well,
I can't believe Grant follows women's sports. Are you kidding me?
It's wild.
We know who he's going to vote for this year.
I do have a political take on women's sports, but we'll save that for later.
Okay.
So we're jumping into women's sports first. We're jumping into college basketball.
Yeah, let's talk about the college basketball.
Oh, they broke the record last night. Did you see that?
Dude, the game was nuts.
Did I see that?
12.5 million views or something like that.
I mean, I actually mentioned to Diana today, I said, is it actually way bigger this year? Or did we just go to the SEC tournament where Angel Reese pulled Cardona's hair and we got really into it? And she's like, oh, it's actually way bigger.
Yeah, I think it is way bigger. Like, because you're seeing like, and I think the big thing that's making the women's game way more appealing than the men's game is that you're seeing like these kind of storylines develop and these rivalries like actually develop where like the same players are playing each other over and over again. Like you got a Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese again in the tournament. So it's like these stories are carrying over. So I think there's just a lot more like palpable drama in the women's game, whereas like
part of my
the men's game, everyone leaves.
Part of my theory on this, man, is especially in women's sports, is it's like one thing. I think NIL has played like a huge part in giving these girls like a platform. Like, dude, like you look at all these girls and they have like NIL sponsors with like Nike or whoever it may be. And it's just like, you know who they are. And it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to start following these people more. I don't know. I feel like NIL has played a huge part this year in kind of giving these girls like big name platform kind of status.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I was watching Portnoy last night and I liked his hot take. He was like, you know, Dave, why you going to Miami and then Albany and then back to Miami? He's like, I watch greatness. He's like, I like greatness. You guys hate me because I'm a Patriots fan, but I like greatness, and Caitlin Clark is greatness. Yeah, but Dave, you're a Michigan man. Why are you wearing an Iowa jersey? Because like no one's ever done this before. And I mean, I think I think Caitlin Clark is intriguing. I think the fact that like the LSU coach Mulkey like grabbed her, put her in a headlock, and was like, I'm so glad you're graduating, was hilarious and like made a lot of sense. Obviously I'm a biased Gamecock fans, but like 4 Final Fours in 4 years, 8 SEC tournaments or finals in 8 years. Like
haven't lost a game since last year.
Lost a game this year, right? Like they'll be the second team ever if they can win the whole thing, like UConn in 2016. It's why. I mean, I stayed up and watched the USC game, USC UConn game last night, and I was like, I cannot believe that I'm staying up. But it was super entertaining. And like Jeremy's coming in, my brother's coming into town to fly fish this week, and we've planned this thing the whole time. And I'm like, the guide's like, you know, he's talking about where we're going to take my brother and all this stuff. And I'm like, hey, I got to be back in Greenville by 7 because the Gamecocks are playing NC State. Another crazy story, but yeah, I think it's been really fun to watch.
Yeah, and you're seeing like the teams, and I feel like a lot of times you're like, oh, well, the same teams like keep showing up, but I think that some of them, these like fan bases get more fired up because they know that like the players are coming back and they're going to get back deep into the tournament. So like these like fan bases are really like rallying behind the teams. Whereas like, I feel like with the Kentucky basketball team, like, are we going to be good this year? Like we have a great class, but are they going to come together in 1 year and actually play well? Like we don't know. So,
and it does seem, and I don't have the stats on this, I'm data blind, but it does seem that the women tend to play with the same school. Well, forget transfer portal. It seems like they play more years in college. Whereas like the men's, when they opened up NBA, you know, early going in, it's like, hey, you got an all-star? Great. He's going to play for you for 1 year and be gone. Whereas now on the women's side, it seems, especially because they're making money now. So they're like, I'll just stay here and play for 4 years. And like, I was thinking about this, the Gamecocks. I was on some site today, and there's Raven Johnson's a guard, and I guess they call her the crock pot, and I don't even know why. And I feel like I followed this team pretty well. So she's all these t-shirts that say Raven, and there's a picture of a crock pot and then Johnson. And I'm like, oh, she realizes like there's all these Gamecock fans. There's all these Grants. There's all these, like my brother Jordan, who's been following this. There's all these people following this that usually wouldn't. And like, yeah, I could go to the WNBA, but no one follows that. Whereas in the college world, I will get a team like the Gamecocks that we win equestrian and we win women's college basketball tournaments, and that's it.
I'm pretty sure A&M won equestrian.
Yeah.
Whoa, yeah.
I will
get easy there, Tiger. I'll fight you over equestrian.
Don't call me a tiger, taters. But like, I think you pick up on all those fans, right, from an institution. Whereas if let's say that player leaves and goes to, what's the Dallas team, Magic or Dallas, whatever.
So for WNBA?
I can't even name a WNBA.
Couldn't tell you.
I couldn't tell you either.
Right? And wouldn't I don't think I'd watch it. But like, because it's tied to like the University of South Carolina, like, this is cool. Or even Iowa or whatever the tradition is. But yeah.
Dallas Wings.
That's it. The Dallas Wings. Thanks, PJ.
Actually, Grant, you might know this. You remember like back in the day, like when no one was watching the NBA until you had like Larry Bird, and Magic Johnson. Someone made the like, hey, Caitlin Clark's kind of like a Larry Bird.
Big time.
You know what I mean? It just kind of like might bringing eyes to the WNBA. I don't know. I probably won't watch it, but I don't watch regular NBA either. So
Yeah.
So I watch NBA. I've never watched it. I mean, I've definitely been somewhere where a WNBA's game's on, but I've never been like, oh, I need to watch this. And I guess my point is in men's college football, I kind of hate the transfer portal and the getting paid. But in women's college basketball, I'm like, oh, you can now elevate this sport and tie it to an institution. And when you go play for the Dallas Wings, no one's going to care. But if you stay like at these, so I think they play longer, which makes it more interesting. But
wait, so was that girl? What was the Crock-Pot? Was she sponsored by Crock-Pot?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Raven, sponsor the podcast also.
Well, I already tweeted at her. After you win the national championship, you're coming on the OK podcast. She has not responded yet, but we will try to get her on.
Dang.
I will aggressively go after all of the.
Oh, we know.
And I'll tell them they'll all get a home gym.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a win-win. We love win-win situations. Yeah.
Do you think Caitlin Clark's going to go play for that? Was it Ice Cube's league? The like Big Three or something like that.
Is it 3-on-3?
That's a lot of money. Way more than WNBA is going to pay.
Well, Portnoy doubled it.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. So Ice Cube said $5 million, and Portnoy said, "I'll give you 10 if you come play like on my side of the same league." I mean, is there a WNBA team that would pay $10 million?
No.
Plus, Portnoy would just hire you to like talk smack after your season's over. Like,
you know what's crazy? I think she has one more year of eligibility left.
Oh, really?
Which would be nuts if she came back again.
Really? Wow.
It'd be crazy.
Dang.
I might have just made that fact up.
I know that Paige Buchers for UConn is a junior, so she's supposed to be back. We'll see. But was it? Oh, yeah. I don't know, because a lot of the WNBA players, like the big thing, and I'm sure they're not doing it now, but like they would go play in Russia in the off season, and like these like Russian mobsters would pay them $2 million to play a season.
And
so like
that's why that one girl got arrested, right?
Yeah, then they
smoking
would
weed in
over
Russia
there and do drugs and get caught up in an international scandal, right?
Yeah.
That's the dream.
Like that was
the American dream.
American dream.
You said you had a political take on women's basketball?
Yeah, I'll just say it. I just think it's funny because people that are, let's say, they're not left, they're the other direction, are like women's sports. And I'm like, I actually think being a fan of women's sports is like basically saying, hey, I believe that there are two genders. And so my joke has been like, it's actually an alt-right take to say I'm a fan of women's sports because you're defending two genders. Ooh. And I don't think I'm wrong.
Whoa.
Isn't the right like pretty heavily entrenched on like fighting for like Title IX?
Yeah.
Right now, and that's like the whole thing that like protects women's sports, and so
exactly, yeah,
that's a big issue for the right.
It's like vaccines. Like it used to be, the left was pro-vaccine, then the right was pro, and it goes back and forth. And so, like
now, the right's pro women's sports.
When people make fun of me, they're like, "Oh, you like women's basketball?" I'm like, "What are you, a leftist?
Keep up with the times.
Stick with it, guys. Come on."
I will say this is the longest I've probably ever talked about women's sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the culture.
Not true for me, but I'm a ride or die right now.
But on the men's side, have you seen the NC State? Who's that? DJ Burns?
Man,
you seen that guy?
DJ, yeah. And the announcers
looks like
always go, the
offensive
DJ
lineman
is in the booth.
Oh, he's a big boy.
6'7",
6'9".
Oh my goodness. I shorted him. How
270,
heavy is he?
6'9", 275.
Yeah.
Oof, damn.
Not bad. What's his squat?
Damn.
Yeah, seriously. NC State, that's who I'm pulling for. I'm mad at myself because I actually screenshotted and sent to you guys a bracket with NC State, and I sent it to my mother, Chapel Hill fan, and she's like,
she
NC
upset.
State got lucky and got hot. They're going to fizzle. And I was like, oh, she's probably right. And I was like, no, NC State, no, she's probably right. And so then I like had him going out. And I said on this very podcast, I think it was on episode 010, I was like, NC State's going to go deep.
Yeah.
And so I had him initially in the championship game. But anyway, I'm NC State. I'm ride or die NC State. Go Wolfpack. Do you know this little symbol they do? Ooh. Yeah, it's so good. It's such a good symbol.
That is a good.
It's a really good symbol. It actually,
I only know that from WCW wrestling back in the
Yeah.
day. NWO Wolfpack, baby.
Was that Sting?
Well, he originally was regular NWO, and then when Wolfpack formed, he switched over, and that was a big deal.
What does NWO
big
stand
deal.
for?
New World Order.
Oh,
Was Sting?
was
Was Rey Mysterio in that?
I feel like he got rolled up in that at some point.
I feel like he did, man.
Yeah. I
I can talk about 90s wrestling all day.
Dude, I used to love it.
There's like one viewer right now that's loving this, and his name's Connor King, and he's just like, "Oh, bring me on to talk wrestling."
Wait, you guys, you see the Rock's coming back
I heard
what?
that. I heard
To
that.
wrestle?
to wrestle? Yeah, he's the heel now.
Oh,
That's wrestling speak.
yeah.
Apparently,
The bad guy.
yeah,
The villain.
He's the Darth Vader.
I need to watch that.
Yeah. We'll put it in Grant speak.
Yeah,
Is that a Zac Efron
Thanks.
movie where he was a wrestler? Did you see that?
I haven't
I think
seen
it's-
it. Iron Claw?
Iron Claw, yeah.
I thought
Heard
you were
very
talking,
sad.
I thought you were talking about the fighter with Mark Wahlberg. I confused.
Yeah, that's the prequel.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Did you like
In
that?
the-
like
in the
media
cantina?
reference from Grant?
That was pretty good.
I like
Yeah,
it.
thanks.
Mark Wahlberg in the cantina.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right. Did we wrap up all basketball? Do we want to make some predictions here?
Oh, yeah, let's do it. Let's make some predictions.
I think for men's and women's, you'll have to remind me who's still playing the men's. All right. So I think
That's a
so
good
we got South Carolina playing NC State, and
Yep.
then we have
UConn.
Iowa playing UConn. I think
that's
Iowa.
gonna be an epic game.
Yeah, it's gonna be epic. And
Is it Iowa? It's not Iowa.
Yeah, Iowa's Caitlin Clark.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you're talking about women's. Okay.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I think I'm gonna go Iowa, South Carolina final.
That's what I want.
Because they knocked us out last year in the Final Four. I mean, I gotta go South Carolina wins, and I'll just hot take 71-68.
I think the same thing. I think that's a safe bet doing South Carolina, Iowa.
UConn's
I'd go.
UConn's
I'd
not
go
to
South.
be messed with.
I
though.
know. Like that.
Yeah,
this is,
those two.
This
Those
is
two
a great
teams are just
Final
really-
Four.
They're pretty hot right now. So I think South Carolina. I think that's good. Wait, what'd you say for your score?
I said 71-68.
I'll go
Close game.
67-72. South Carolina.
Thanks.
I picked the same thing, and I will go.
I hate when the fouls happen there at the end and mess up the score.
Gotcha.
Joe,
Jeff?
I'll go.
I feel like Jeff's gonna take UConn in there.
I
Yeah.
do want to say UConn. I'm going to say UConn. That's
Pick
going to be a
South-
close game. That's going to be like, I feel like that might be a buzzer beater. And then got to go South Carolina. And then I think South Carolina will win it all.
Okay.
Over UConn.
And then the score will be
PJ's taking notes.
64. No, so it's 70-64.
Ooh.
Okay.
They almost broke 100 last night, didn't they?
They did. Yeah, it was wild. PJ, you got a hot take on this?
I got no hot takes.
We just crunched the numbers real quick.
I'm just doing math.
ChatGPT, who's going to win the?
Ooh.
It's all right.
Yeah,
what about the men's?
Who's the men's Final Four? It's like,
You got
NC
UConn
State.
versus Purdue,
What's it say?
right?
Yep.
oh yeah, Purdue's in it.
I'll go. Who's
Who's the
UConn
fourth
playing?
team?
Alabama.
Yeah.
Oh, boo!
I'm going to go UConn. I think UConn and
I'm so
Purdue
bad.
make it to the finals.
Wait, isn't UConn playing Purdue?
No, I think UConn's playing
No, it's
Alabama.
NC State, Purdue, and Alabama, UConn.
Yeah, because I'm
Okay,
excited to watch.
I'm going UConn, NC State.
See, I'm going Purdue. I'm excited about Purdue against DJ Burns. That sounds like a
DJ in
pretty
the booth.
Oh man,
This gonna be pretty fun. But I'm gonna go Purdue and UConn in the finals, and then I'll say UConn ends up winning it.
Ooh.
I'll go 95-81.
Ooh, big win.
Yeah, dude, they scored 30 unanswered points. You see that?
That was wild.
30.
That doesn't happen much.
I was
A 30-0 run.
I was busy watching Caitlin sink 9 3-pointers.
She was just like anything she was throwing
From
up
like
was going
30
in.
feet
Like
out.
Steph
off
Curry
balance.
vibes.
Like,
Great is just so
wrong foot.
uninterested in the men's.
No, I'm interested in DJ Burns. I'm Team Wolfpack. Go Wolfpack.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Wolfpack over UConn, 81-78.
Okay.
I like UConn and Purdue also. I hope Alabama just gets blown out in the Final Four. I would love to see that, or a buzzer beater. I don't know which one would actually be worse.
You just want Alabama to score like 17 points.
7 points
total.
Yeah.
That's it.
And then final. I'll pick Purdue just to be contrarian, and then Trey score 92-88.
Ooh, okay. Close game.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
And I'll say Alabama wins over
Boo.
by
You're
30
fired.
points because I
You're
don't know
fired.
anything about this.
Alabama
So
wins
I'm
the
just going the
championship. I'll be so
contrarian.
You know why, Jeff?
I love it.
You know why? Because we're from the south.
There you go. That took about 10 minutes.
Yeah, Jeff was. I could see the gears clicking. But we
Bunch
got
of Southern boys.
okay, so there was two football games today.
Yeah.
Everclear versus someone else.
Dude. Why do they keep trying to make this happen? Like,
Yeah, what were the games today?
Was it Everton?
oh, that football. I thought you were talking about like
Everclear.
this spring league that
No, I'm talking about
UEFL that the Rock's involved with.
I'm talking about soccer.
Football.
You know, there are four
Football.
games today.
Oh, 4 games today.
Was one Everton?
I saw the Everclear game.
Oh, Everton and Tottenham, I think, right?
Who won?
I think it was a draw. It was a 1-1 draw.
How hot are those Spurs?
They're pretty cold right now.
Oh, they're not great.
They're not great. They're okay this year. But
Did Liverpool play? I heard
Liverpool
they had a big game
plays
against Triton.
Liverpool plays on Thursday
Oh, okay.
against Sheffield United.
Mm.
So top team versus the bottom team in the league. But
Let's have Grant go and explain offsides to everybody.
Yeah, I'll be there and just explaining all the rules of football.
How many subs do you get?
6.
Clear.
oh, close.
Is it 3?
Actually, in the World Cup, you might get 6. I don't know.
I think
Yeah, big World Cup guy over here.
it's
Viva
6,
la
but there's like
Mexico.
3 substitution windows. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Oh, I'm looking at the game. So like a lot of the preseason games for like a lot of the European teams, they'll come to the US to play some exhibition games. And I think we talked about how Liverpool and Man United are coming to Colombia to play at Williams-Brice.
We got to go to that.
And then like 4 days later in Charlotte, Chelsea and Real Madrid are playing. So I think Kaylee and I are trying to work a trip to go see both of those games. So we'll keep you posted.
Yeah, keep us posted.
South Carolina, the hotbed.
I know.
South Carolina, where all the good things happen.
They love their soccer over there.
That's right.
Did we wrap up?
Everclear.
Did we wrap up sports? I overtalked Everclear. Are we good?
We did have like it was Major League Baseball opening day.
Yeah.
And then I just thought it was interesting, and I think it's gonna be a good thing, is the rewrite of the NFL Kickoff Rule.
Ooh,
if anyone
I
saw
don't know
that.
about this.
So I'll probably get some of the details wrong, but it's like, so now like, you know, how everywhere, like the kickoff is like a ceremonial play now, basically, where it's like you kick it out of the back of the end zone and no one ever returns the ball. So like they've now, if you kick it out of the back of the end zone, the receiving team gets the ball at the 30-yard line. And so now like between the the goal line in the 20 is like the receiving zone. And so the receiving team can catch it. And then the kicking team can't actually like start going to cover the kick until the receiving team catches the ball.
But where they start at?
Oh God, I have to look it up.
I have it up here. I have it right here. Tell me if this is right. This is from USA Today, so I don't know.
Probably right.
It says kickers
for sure.
Kickers will kick off from their own 35-yard line.
Fake news.
Fake news. The 10 other players from the kicking team will line up on the opposing team's 40-yard line.
Okay.
The receiving team will have at least 9 players line up in the setup zone between the 35 and 30-yard lines.
Okay.
2 returners will be stationed in a landing zone from the 20-yard line to the goal line.
Ooh, a landing zone.
There's more, but does that give the gist?
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't start, the kicking team doesn't start until they catch the ball, correct? They don't start moving?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, no players can move until the ball is received by a returner.
I think that, I know you're just knocking
fair catches.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
There's no more fair catches
for kickoff. So like they can't fair catch the ball. So if it's like going to land, like they have to return it.
I know you were knocking the fake football leagues, but I think that came from like the XFL or something like that.
I know they took like some. Well, no, the XFL was like there was no, or no, it was the coin toss that was like the scrum, but
rugby. Now you're
they
speaking
did something.
language.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they took it from some other league. And the other thing I want them to adopt is on like replay reviews. Is the ref is talking to like the TV viewers of like what he sees. Like in real time, they mic him up and he's like explaining, he's like, okay, he has possession 2 feet in, that's a catch. And he's like talking like through it of what he sees.
I thought you were going to say you hope they adopted like getting a collie as a mascot when they're in agricultural school. And then like they all grab hands and talk about
again, Grant's knowledge of A&M astounds
pretty
me.
high. Good segue to leave that. I was at my sister's house. I taught a lifting clinic last week, went to Raleigh. Her husband, Grant Casper, A&M grad. And we go into his office, whoop, gig him. And we go into his office and he has like this nightstand kind of deal, like kind of this. I mean, it's not as fancy. He doesn't have a block clock mini and a gold drink spotter, but it's pretty fancy. And inside of it is a pair of the boots. And they're like
a shadow box.
They're like lit up with lights. So it's like a coffee table with his Aggie boots inside.
Wow.
And I was like, what's up with the boots? And so Grant's still at work. Grant is my brother-in-law's name. He's still at work. And my sister's like, I don't know. They're like kind of big in Aggie lore. And I was like, oh, at A&M,
let me tell you,
only cadets can wear the boots. And then they jump in this fountain when they're done being a fish. And the boots are really important. And she's like,
kind of right.
So why are they in a box? I'm like, I don't really know, but I think they're important.
Mine's in a box in the attic.
Yeah.
Not lit
still
up.
A box.
Yeah, still a box though.
But you do jump in a fountain, right?
No. Was he was a yell leader, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. After we win a football game, the freshmen throw the yell leaders in the fountain.
Oh, okay. I was pretty close.
Yeah. Okay. You had a fountain. Someone gets wet. Yeah.
Did you ever just jump in a fountain for fun, like unrelated to Texas A&M?
No, I did not. And we also didn't win much when I was there, so we didn't throw them in the fountain a lot. So
stayed pretty dry.
Everyone was pretty alive. Dry. Next slide.
Yeah.
Oh,
what do we got next, Jeff?
Let's see. Trey, did you want to talk about fishing?
Dude.
Posted some stuff in there about some fishing.
Dude.
Let's this podcast and the next episode we'll just continue to talk about the same. Yeah, fishing.
It's a series.
So I went out on this past Easter weekend. Went out with my wife's uncle, and he has a bass boat. Grant, I sent you a picture of this. So we were using Live Scope. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I have actually. When I fished with the one time I fished with Jimmy Houston.
Did he have one?
Yeah, he had one. Well, it was like 1995, but yeah, it was like you could see the fish under the water And I don't know. I was like,
so the live scope came out in like 2016. So the one you're talking about is you're talking about just regular fish radar, which like pings it and it bounces back and it comes back. Live scope is like
kind of
real
like Marine
time
Corps communications.
Exactly. Yeah.
So basically, live scope is like Tesla, and the Marine Corps is still like Vietnam.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, we got a cat.
He's listening. He loves to talk about fish. He's a big fan of tuna.
Meow.
So
we were doing crappie fishing. So live scope is like real time though. So like it's crazy because like it pings it down there, and like you see like the outline of the tree, and then you see the fish like on the tree, and then you drop your lure. And we were fishing with minnows, fishing for crappie, and you drop your lure, and like you see it go down in front of the fish, and you see the fish come out and bite it, and then he's like, all right, you're on. You just lift up your rod and there's a fish on it.
Is that fun?
If I was fishing for fun, I would say
great question.
It would not be the most, I think it's fun trying to guess which lure to use, and just like
PJ's looking it up right now.
I think I sent a video.
He's like, how can I make a YouTube short about this?
I sent a video. Yeah, live scope.
Cool.
Carmen. If they are, I would lose my mind. Yeah. But so to me, it's cool if you're like crappie, like I can't remember what the limit is in Texas. It's like 12 or something like that. And so if you're like eating them, then I'm like the quickest way I can like catch a fish to eat it. Then it's like a deer stand. You know what I mean? So
tough feel.
Wow.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, is it super ethical? Nah. Does it take some of the fun out? Yeah. But if I'm going to eat it,
I don't think that's
we didn't catch any. You have to be in a certain slot to keep them, and so they have to be. If they're like below a certain size or above a certain size, like you can't keep them. You got to throw them back. So we caught some small ones, but the main reason why I brought it up because I knew Grant and Jeff would not be a fan.
As conservationist, I mean,
well, where's the line?
Kind of goes against all.
Where's the line?
That's the real question.
Great question, Jordy.
Can you use polarized sunglasses to see through the water? Like, does that?
Ooh, I do use those.
Does that cross a line? Is that unethical?
That protects you from the sun.
Protects fish from living.
Same subject, slightly different. Jeff will know the answer. What's the founder's name of Patagonia?
Yvon Chouinard.
Yeah, I would never be able to say that. I was going to call him Ivanka Trump.
No.
But Yvon
Trump.
Is it true that he only fishes with one fly? Someone
so that was a
told
thing
me this.
He did.
Okay.
It's like, he's been fly fishing for like forever. But yeah, he like talks about, he's like, 1 year I just decided that I'm going to fish with one type of fly. I'll use different sizes of that fly.
I looked it up.
And he's like, but I'm going to use that one fly and just see like, he's like, I'm going to simplify this one thing.
Yep.
And then try to work on every other aspect of it. So yeah, that's like a thing he did.
So I'm just going to squat and the only thing that'll change is the weight.
That's right.
That's what Ivanka Trump said.
Big fishing guy.
Big conservationist.
Big conservationist.
So I got a big trip coming. So my brother's birthday is Christmas Eve. And so my parents are amazing, but also funny. They have you have a $150 gift for Christmas. What would you like? And then you send them I want this thing. And then you're like, oh, here's a gift. I wonder what it is. And that's what you wanted. But Jeremy's birthday is on Christmas Eve. And so he always gets a little bit more, and actually when he was little, he kind of got screwed. But as he's gotten older, he's kind of people are like, oh, I'm going to go see my brother. It's his birthday. I should give him something. No one cares about your birthday in August. In any event, my parents, they were like, what do we get Jeremy? And I was like, he really wants to come fish North Carolina waters. And so
where's he at?
He's in Maryland.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in Maryland. We'll get him on. I got Caleb in the queue. I got Jim Denofa in the queue. I got a guy from London in the queue. But we'll get Jeremy on talk fishing. But anyway, so my parents buy him this thing in December. And he's like, I'm not coming down till John Connitz from Harris Fly Fishing says it's time to come down. And so like mid-February, he's like, bring him down early April. Like it's going to pop off. So anyway, Jeremy's coming down. He'll fly in Thursday night. And then Friday, we're going to fish all day with a guide. And then Saturday, we're going to fly fish all day on our own. So I'm pretty excited. And the guide kind of like from the very first time I fished with him, I was like, my brother's going to come. Like, why are you doing this? Oh, my brother told me this was cool. And so I think he thinks like Jeremy's a really good fisherman. And I actually have no idea if he's a good fisherman. Jeremy would downplay and say he's a bad fisherman. I bet he's like better than I am. He's been doing it he's 42. So he's been doing it since college. So what is that?
So he's probably pretty good.
He's probably, but he would say he's bad. And then when like I tell him about like all the fish I'm catching, he's like, I mean, that sounds great. So yeah, we're going to go out 2 days this weekend. So yeah, I'm pretty pumped. And then I've been watching like Harris fly fishing, and spring is really like springing around here. Like all the cars are green. Nice. Everything's covered in pollen.
Perfect.
Yeah. So like, I'm pretty pumped about.
Is it post spawn? Is that what it is? Or is it pre spawn?
Dude, amateur hour over here.
The big thing is the hatch for the flies.
The hatch,
like all the bugs, they're good. Like that's when they start to like hatch more frequently. And so when that happens, like the trout go crazy and are just like kind of like blind and just like grabbing everything off the top of the water. So it's just like a really prime.
The last time I went was a month ago, and it wasn't warm, but it was the first time like I didn't have to have 400 warming layers on my waders. And the bugs on top of the water were crazy. And you just walk up to like an area of water and you'd see fish just jumping up and biting them, which I had never seen because I'd only fished in the winter months. So
it's like the rut for deer hunting. Like,
yeah, I mean,
that's a good comparison.
Yeah. So the hatch is on. So, yeah, hopefully next week I got some good stories, but it'll be funny because he usually just like roast me for 8 hours. And he's like, when your brother comes, I'm gonna be nice. I'm like, I don't know if you have that in you.
I don't think you
I think that's like all guys. Like you just like pay the money and then they just like roast you like the whole entire day.
Yeah, like lifting coaches.
Yeah.
Got a tax question? Call BW Tax. You got lifting.
You want to get roasted?
You want to get roasted?
Call Grant.
Yeah.
Fly fishing guide or Grant.
Yeah. You got a Bitcoin question? Call Jordy. Got a Star Wars question? Call Jeff.
Yeah.
There you go. Speaking of which, I think we got to take a second and just play an ad from our sponsors. Is it one of these?
The first one is
so
Tanner.
I was gonna go blind, but I feel like Tanner.
That's what I love. What I've always loved about BW Tax is, you could be someone like me. I have a W-2 job still. Got to support the wife, the kids. There you go.
You gotta.
Kids, there's child tax credits. It's the government has really created a wild maze that is income tax and loopholes and all that, and that's what the folks at BW Tax, that's their bread and butter. I mean, that's what they're known for and what they've come to be so excellent at, and that's why you could talk to them remotely, even if you're from some place in the sticks like western northeast South Dakota. You can still talk to a warm body at BW Tax. It's not a bot. It's not a chat GPT service. It's real people there providing a real service, and that's what I love about them at
bwtaxllc.com.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's what I like about them.
The warmest of bodies.
Great ad. Yeah. So speaking of Massonomics, I posted in the Arnold chat on Slack. If you want to join our Slack, there's over 210 lifters in there. There's form checks going on, programming going on, nutrition going on. There's bots going on.
Shenanigans.
There's shenanigans going on. There's fishing going on. There's music to deadlift, aka Fleet Foxes going on. There's a lot going on. There's also an Arnold channel with everyone that comes to the Arnold from that community. And so I posted who's coming to the LHLE. And Trey replied and said, what is this?
Fair question.
And fair question. And so I actually said, oh, they must have a landing page. And so I'm Googling like Massonomics, Lift Hard, Live Easy, and I'm only like landing on their koozie for sale. And so I text Tanner and I'm like, hey, is there a landing page? He's like, oh, we're going to get that up real soon. And you can find like the powerlifting, like how to sign up for the powerlifting.
Oh, you would like register for it?
Yeah, you can register for it, but there's not like a what it is. And so 50,000 foot view here, and Trey, what I would say is, yes, it is technically a powerlifting meet that's going on in Aberdeen, South Dakota, but it's more a meetup for the Massonomics podcast. And people that are fans of that, love that, all go. And in Massonomics folklore, they talk about all the different things like billboards for their podcast. There's a rock that's called Brock the Rock. Huge. It's like outside of a Menards that everyone like runs over like on accident. And like they get their car stuck on it. Like I think it's like a monthly occurrence. Like it happens all the time. There's a bar/pub called Pounders. Like it's all like small hometown stuff. But if you listen to the podcast, you're like, oh, there's an event in South Dakota. I want to go experience all these things. I went to the mall while I was there, which they don't talk about. But if you've ever seen Dawn of the Dead, that is exactly what I experienced. Like literally everything was closed. It was super scary.
Have you seen Dawn of the Dead?
Yeah, I have. Cultural Ethics number 2 of the show. Yeah,
don't
good. Tell mom and
That's
dad.
Good.
But yeah,
we won't.
Don't tell mom and dad.
Yeah, I have seen Dawn of the Dead. So in any event, great. It's a powerlifting meet. We went last year. We're going again. They do like a meetup at Tanner's house the first night. I want to say it was over 100 people there last year.
Dang.
From Canada, the Midwest, people from Ohio that are not from the Midwest.
Not the Midwest.
The Northeast, the South, like people kind of from all over. They do a meetup. And the event is a powerlifting meet. We had a booth there. Barefoot Shoes had a booth there. Massonomics had a booth there. There's a supplement company that had a booth there. Might have been, I don't want to say it wrong, but there was a supplement company.
Build Fast Formula?
Was it that or was it Duffin's?
That's a sponsor.
I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, there was booths there. There was food there. And it's lifting. And so they unfortunately do the meet with calibrated Chinese made plates, but that's per the Federation's rules. But the warm-up room is where it's at. That's all straight go plates.
And the real lifting happens.
It's a good time. So Big Connor came last year. Ron came. Diana obviously came. And it's fun. I mean, it's a great place. If you got a straw hat in the summer and you're looking for a place to flex a Gunfighter 10X, George Strait edition, say less. Aberdeen, South Dakota. So anyway, that's what it is.
What a pitch.
Yeah, I mean,
record it, play it back. Yeah.
Can't afford to not go.
Is this the mall?
That's the mall, yeah. Well, that's the mall in its heyday. It's way worse now. Yeah, the mall was crazy. And there's a place called Storyland where it's like all the like, I'm terrible at this because I didn't watch comics and storybooks growing up.
Oh, you're doing good. Keep going.
Storyland, like rabbits,
you got it.
Paul Bunyan.
Keep going.
Oh, it's all like the tall tales.
Kids,
like,
the tall tales.
Franco's Bill.
Yeah.
All Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. There you go. Follow the Yellow Brick Road.
Harry Potter.
Thanks.
There's rabbits. That's it. It's the first thing that he said to describe it.
Peter
Rabbit. The rabbits.
There's rabbit. There's like rabbits and stuff. And
yeah.
Jeff speaking fluent Grant pulled out Tall Tale.
Well, Jeff knew exactly what I meant. Yeah. That's what Diana always says. There's only one person that understands you. His name's Jeff.
Yeah, 100% accurate.
I like to think Calhoun understands too, but
Calhoun knows.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the pitch for the Lift Hard, Live Easy Classic. Aberdeen, South Dakota. The Strength Co will be there. This podcast is powered by that, so this podcast will be there. Who knows? Maybe Jeff and Trey will be there. You never know. July.
You never know.
I hope so. I want to go.
20th ish, whatever that Saturday is, around July 20th. That's
at this point. I don't know.
You can't afford not to go.
Can't afford not to.
Can't afford not to. Can't afford not to.
I did promise the barefoot lady that I would get a pair of shoes, so I still owe her some.
A great place to buy them.
Yeah.
You could buy them on the spot. I'm sure they'd love to make a sale.
There you go. I'm coming.
They'll do the barefoot fitting. It'll just be like your SBD experience at the Arnold.
Yeah, same thing. And then you'll own the shoes, and every time you wear them, your wife will just stare at you, and you'll be like, "Yep, I'm wearing these." Jeff, what's left on the agenda?
So, do you want to talk about your field experience a few weeks back?
Oh,
up in Jersey.
Joyzy.
Is this the southern or northern battery?
The northern batteries. There are two northern batteries, one located in Bristol, Pennsylvania, and the other one at Fort Dix. And there are two southern batteries located in Fort McClellan and Chattanooga, Tennessee. And the northern batteries prevailed. Yeah, no, I was
historically accurate.
Yeah, I was just historically accurate. I was just thinking about like when you're a young Marine officer or enlisted, like you just want to do like hardcore stuff. Like, oh yeah, it's raining, it's cold. Like, hell yeah, that's why I'm a Marine. Put me in, coach. And then when you're 35, you're like, oh man, it's 17 degrees and pouring rain. Like
sugar melts, baby.
This is not that fun. But no, I just thought it was, I mainly thought it was funny that, so what, 2012, we hit the fleet, Jeff. And so 12 years removed, 2013, 2012, 2013. Anyway.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So more than a decade removed, and like all the same problems are exactly the same. Like I go in to take over the battery, and it's like, what's the problem? They can't count rifles. Like they're trying to like some XO has like a right in the rain. He's trying to like can't count rifles, and like MVGs don't add up. PEC 13s don't add up. And I'm just like standing there, and I'm like, not like I took command Sunday, so I'm not in control. Not that I would have done anything different. There's like actually nothing you can do. Like you just have to let it play out. I'm not saying that. It's just funny that I'm like, man, I've been in this gun club for over 10 years, and it's the same. Like we don't know how many rifles we're bringing, and then we finally figure it out. And then it's like, did you figure it out, or was Gunny just like, yep, 102 equals 108, let's go? And then you go, and it was just funny, and just watching like Marines and just people going internal because it's cold, and yeah, I mean that was. That I didn't have that much to say. It was just funny to see that the process of training to keep a artillery battery relevant, like it's the same as the first field op we did in 2012. Like nothing's changed. The comm gear sucks.
Yep.
Like you can't get fire capped. No one can talk to the guns. It was just fantastic. And then it's
how did we gain a rifle?
And then you get fire capped, and it's like, oh man, like battalion sucks. They have sent us no missions, and they send you a mission and you botch it, and they're like, well, but battalion still sucks. If they sent us that mission 10 minutes ago, we would have crushed it.
Yeah, what the hell? It's always higher that's messed up. It's never you.
That's accurate.
Yeah.
It's always the distant end on the radio. Well, our comm's good. We're good. Our comm's good. It must be the other end. Our comm's good.
Yeah.
There was one time we were like counting MVGs and we were like short one, so we like recounted, and then like we gained one.
You gained,
and it was like how did that happen? And then like we counted again, and then like one of the serial numbers like didn't match. You're like, okay, so we gained one, but now the serial number doesn't match. We just like found one. I'm going to quit asking questions. Okay.
So funny story that actually makes sense is I'm just standing there, and I'm like meeting all the staff, talking to the officers, staff and COs, whatever, typical major work, post lobotomy. And I'm just listening to like the XO telling the CO like what's going on. They're like, oh, this many people. CO goes out an advance party, and they're like, oh, 25 minutes from now, we're going to go. And then literally like the entire staff is standing around me, and I'm just like shooting the crap
breeze
with them.
Yeah,
shooting the breeze, the stuff. And then all of a sudden they're like, the numbers don't add up. I'm like, well, no one's left. No one's an account. So anyway, they had like done like a vehicle roll call, and they had asked for how many packs. And like there was a Marine in the back of a 7-ton that counted like the packs.
Oh,
not the
man.
people, like the packs. And
He heard
the number,
packs.
the number jumped up by like 16, and they're like, "What in the heck? Did those Marines that were RBE decide to come out?" And then, but we didn't know this at first. And then I'm just like picturing like a Lance Corporal, like sitting in the back of a 710 and some sergeant like, "Hey, how many packs are in here?" And rather than
Oh shoot! I gotta count all these backpacks.
for PJ's understanding, packs means people,
Okay.
but this Marine counted like,
PAX.
this Marine counted the backpacks inside the 7-ton.
Okay.
Instead of the people. But of course he did, because he
Yeah,
like, doesn't know any better. He
exactly.
hasn't been taught any different.
Well,
So,
this-
like,
Words
is
mean
stupid.
things.
This is a
right?
stupid question. People have more than one or than backpack, like,
well,
split and match.
Good, yeah.
no,
Yeah.
it wouldn't. It could match, but basically, like you could have 8 Marines in a vehicle, which would be 8 packs. But
Yeah.
there might be 12 packs in there because the 4 Marines in the comm vehicle, there's no room in that vehicle for the
Oh,
packs.
yeah,
so they
yeah,
threw their bags in that. Well, like
Got
stuff
it.
like that.
I carried. I had an extra backpack for 5-hour energies,
Snacks.
Yeah.
tobacco, snacks.
That was your morale.
That was my morale backpack.
Dude.
Broggi bait.
Dude.
First
Yeah, I was
time
like,
I
my
heard-
main pack was all like my sustainment stuff. And then like, yeah, the day pack would be everything that I needed just to
Nothing's
stay
changed.
happy.
That's exactly how I packed. That
I remember there was one
exactly
time
that.
we set up like it was towards the end of an exercise. It was like Sierra was here, then like Tango was like 200 yards away. I think
Coastals.
Grant went there. Tobacco battery, and then I just see I look over my MVGs because it's like dead at night, and I just see everybody smoking cigarettes over there.
Yes.
Definitely wasn't there.
One of the drawers in our FDC, was just everyone would bring in cigarettes and it would just be full of cigarettes.
Smoking lamp is
So
lit.
great.
So do you guys know about the rubber duckies on the dashboard of Jeeps?
No,
No.
Okay, so I just learned about this, and we'll maybe we'll close with this. But so we have a Tesla, and I only drive Diana drives the Tesla. I only drive it on Sundays when we go to church. And every time I see another Tesla, I wave. And Diana's
Tesla
like,
wave.
"That's not a thing." I'm like, "Oh, it's a thing." She's like, "It's not a thing." I was like, "In the South, it's a thing because
like a Harley wave.
yeah, but it never and like a Jeep wave because Jeep people wave. I
Yeah.
was like, it's a thing because you realize like, oh, you're laughing at me, but I'm in the South, and like I like still like Teslas, and so it's a thing where now she thinks it's so ridiculous that I like go out of my way to like wave at Teslas. So then we pass this Jeep, and it has like a bunch of rubber duckies on the hood, and she's like. I was like, look at that Jeep. Can you imagine riding around with a bunch of rubber duckies? She's like, oh, that's a thing. I was like, what do you mean that's a thing? She's like, yeah, it's a thing for Jeep owners to say you've been ducked. And a Jeep owner will go into the parking lot, see another Jeep, and then put a rubber ducky on the door handle and then leave a note that says you've been ducked. And then they put the duck on the thing. I didn't know anything about this.
I never heard of this.
Bring it back full circle, Marine Corps, day pack, whatever. I just remember Corporal Gerleman, like when a field op would stop on the dash of his Humvee, he would just line up packs of Newport cigarettes. It would be like 24 packs. And I would always be like, what's this? He's like, oh, that's for me to know how long the field op's been going. And I was like, oh, so like we're at ITX, it's 18 days. He's like, yeah, we'll run out about day 6. But like then it speeds up and we resupply, and it's just like, and she was telling me about the Jeep thing, and I was like, oh, this is hilarious.
Wow.
Marines. Yeah.
I sent an article in Slack. You can check out the ducks.
So you know about it?
No, I just Googled it.
Oh, okay.
So it's real. Okay.
Yeah,
it's real.
Oh,
It's real.
interesting.
It's just not Diana going around just putting ducks on people's cars.
yeah. You've been ducked.
That's
by
it's
D.
it's really just a
By
Diana
D.
thing. She's just going around. Hey, here's a duck.
Well,
Love it. Love it.
I think 014 is pretty good. No guests. We got to catch up a little bit more next week.
Ooh.
We'll have a guest. I forget which one it is, but it's on my calendar. As every week, as we end the show, one, we thank you for following us. Our Instagram count is at like 420. And
Ooh,
we want
Elon.
we want our Instagram followers to outpace Jordy's deadlift. So it used to be his body weight. You guys crushed that. So
I'm a 455.
460. Go follow us on Instagram, YouTube. We do as much as we have time to do over there. It's not a ton. We don't get many emails, but you can email us at theokcast@gmail.com. But I don't want to tail that because as tradition goes, Trey generally tells us all the places that you can find the media. So with that, Trey, I mean, tell the people where they can listen to the OK podcast.
Well, first of all, I just want to thank everybody for listening to the
Okay.
Podcast. This has been episode 014. Please follow us on LinkedIn,
TikTok,
MySpace, TikTok while it's still legal, right?
Truth
Is that the whole thing?
Truth
Social. Yeah, big presence there. Honestly, the best way to connect with us, though, is to go to www.theokpodcast.com. You can find all of our links there. Follow us if you want. If not, whatever. Do what you want. It's America. I'd like to thank our sponsor, B-Dub Tax. Tax season's coming to a close. Still don't know when it's, 2 weeks. They know.
Sure.
I don't know. They know.
So the thing is, they can also extend you if you need it.
Yeah. Again, yeah. If you always want it, you can always extend it. I don't want to do that. They can do that. They know how. I'd like to thank our sponsors, BW Tax. The door is still open. It's cracked open for more sponsors.
Barely. BW Tax has doubled down.
Crockpot or what? Crockpot, is that one that we're going after?
Raven Crockpot Johnson. I'm trying
Raven Crockpot Johnson. So again, guys, hey, just would like to thank everybody again.
And with that,
Coach, did I miss anything?
No, we'll just play our final ad and close it out.
Attention orders.
BW Tax, I love them. They're based out of South Carolina, but they can do taxes for you anywhere. They have CPAs. They have the team that you need to cut through all the red tape. They did Trey's taxes, got them in and got them out. We got to mention that whenever you're calling them, don't think you're going to be talking to some chat GPT, some bot. You're not going to be put on hold for 25 minutes and then told we're going to call you back and then end up at church when they finally do and not be able to answer because you're in communion with the people that are around you. And how can you possibly stop? When you make the call, they're going to answer. BW Tax LLC from South Carolina to everywhere.
Everywhere.
South Carolina to everywhere. That's a great
everywhere.
Jeff, I love that. When we did the little nuggets for Matios, you said, and then they'll call you and you'll be a communion. And he ran with that. Like,
and then through that, I was like, all right. He just went with exactly what we said.
And
he nailed it.
His reason of you can't answer the phone at communion is because you're with the people that are around you.
You're in communion. You're in fellowship. Yeah.
The people that are not God, but with the people around you.
Communioning.
Yeah.
Episode 014, the alt-right women's pro basketball podcast. Okay.